I'll just, Tamil sir, Soundarajan, just stay with me. I'll also tell you what Prime Minister Modi now has said. He's in fact just put out a post on social media on this particular tragedy in Karur. Prime Minister Modi referring to it as an unfortunate incident. This is the first statement that's coming from Prime Minister Modi, where he's expressed his condolences also over the tragedy that's played out in Karur. I'll just read out for you exactly what Prime Minister Modi has put. He's taken to social media platform X to issue a statement right now. And in that particular statement, Prime Minister Modi has said, and I quote, "The unfortunate incident during a political rally in Karur of Tamil Nadu is deeply saddening. My thoughts are with the families who have lost their loved ones, wishing strength to them in this difficult time, praying for a swift recovery to all those injured." So this is the statement from Prime Minister Modi. I'll read it out for our viewers again. "The unfortunate incident during a political rally in Karur, Tamil Nadu is deeply saddening. My thoughts are with the families who have lost their loved ones, wishing strength to them in this difficult time, praying for a swift recovery to all those injured." So that's the message, Suesha, that's coming from Prime Minister Modi.
And Akshita, do stay on. Maria is also joining us live on the broadcast. Maria, that statement coming in from Prime Minister Narendra Modi condoling the deaths. Unfortunate that 33 people have lost their lives in this tragedy and the death toll that could be higher.
That's right. Of course, a very, very unfortunate incident which happened during a political rally and TVK rally to be specific here. The Prime Minister, of course, saying that he wishes strength to the families of those who lost their lives and is praying for swift recovery to all those injured. We can expect some calls to, go from perhaps the Prime Minister who could speak to the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, and similar such movements could happen in the next few hours, because this is a developing situation. The death toll figures have gone up significantly, and the number of those injured is high as well. But, it does raise a lot of questions with regards to the protocols which are to be put in place whenever there are huge public gatherings of this nature. So in this particular case, certainly questions will be asked to the TVK. Did they follow those protocols? But for the moment, what we can tell our viewers is that the Prime Minister has put out a tweet in which he has said that his thoughts are with the families of those who lost their loved ones.
Oh yes, Maria, absolutely, and keeping a very close eye on all the developments coming in. Akshita, I want to come back to you. Of course, the larger question being that when will we finally learn our lesson, because crowd management has been an issue, and despite the fact that several such tragedies have occurred, it still continues. As far as Vijay's rally is concerned, like you rightly started with that very point, that this was a tragedy probably waiting to happen, given the fact that risky situations have occurred even in the previous rallies, but enough heed was not paid, norms were not adhered to, and 33 lives lost.
That's right, Suesha. There were clearly lessons to learn from the last few rallies that had happened, but none of them were clearly learned, which is why something like this has even happened. This is the third weekend that we've seen Vijay actually going ahead and holding these kind of rallies. This time was in Karur and in Namakkal. Now, in each of these rallies, there were huge crowds that had gathered. In each of these rallies, there was a stampede-like situation that had happened, in the sense that you had crowds gathering, you had women, little children fainting, falling unconscious in these rallies. That's something that my colleague Pramod has also spoken about, because he's attended several of these rallies. For reporters too, it was extremely unsafe. So you can only imagine for the people who had gathered there. And the problem is that in each one of these events, people who are seeing Vijay don't just look at him as a politician. They're looking at him as a superstar who, they've watched in their movies. And so this is a chance for them to see him, meet him in the flesh. So they constantly push closer and closer to get toward his bus. You will remember that in the weeks running up to that particular event, to Vijay launching these campaigns, there were a number of restrictions put in place on the TVK rallies with regards to the number of people, where it can happen, how it will happen, the kind of provisions that will be made, how long Vijay can speak. Clearly, I don't know if any of it was followed. It definitely doesn't look like it, at least in Karur, because of the sheer numbers that had gathered there. There were over 30 restrictions put in place, including things like no loudspeakers, that Vijay won't come in a massive convoy, that he has only a certain amount of time that he can speak. I don't know if there's even a question of any of that being followed because Vijay turned up so late at this particular event. So there were restrictions in place. The bigger challenge is, and the question is, were any of those followed? Or was, things just going on because the first two events, the first 2 days, there were no incidents that had happened. It was only Stampede-like situations that had happened, an almost situation. And so things were lax at this particular location, which is why you had so many crowds. We understand 50,000. Can you even imagine that, Suesha? This isn't a planned rally at a stage.
Right.
It's not one of the events. It's a roadside rally that saw nearly 50,000 people.
In fact, Akshita, it's being said that those crowds could be much larger and we are trying to get the exact details. But before I come to you, Pramod, I quickly want to go back to Ms. Tamilisai Soundararajan, especially with the allegation that the attack that the DMK had levelled against Vijay, calling him a weekend politician. And to this day, as the story was developing, we had several DMK voices who went on to say that this is what happens when you hold weekend rallies, because the job of a neta is to connect to people on a day-to-day basis. But Vijay is far from a neta. He's riding on his superstar success, superstar power, and that is why people come to catch a glimpse of him more as a superstar, less as a neta, and that speaks of how his political career is shaping up. What are your thoughts on it?
No, already we also appealed that he should not take a single day, because sitting all the other days in the home and one day, that too he is a popular star and more people will be motivated to come to his rallies, but particularly the weekend. But whatever may be the situation, a leader can plan his campaign in any way. But what is the responsibility of the state government? State government should take all the responsibilities. They cannot just wash their hands. They cannot blame the leader or the actor. Whatever may be the situation, during the air show in the marina, 5 people died because of Stampede. At that time, CM was watching the air show. So it's all responsibility of the state government. The DMK cannot wash their hands, cannot blame. We also feel that Vijay should not take only one day campaign, because people are more fascinated and he draws more crowd. But why this is happening? This is the response. They are ruling. This is the responsibility of the ruling government. It's the responsibility of the chief minister to monitor the crowd, to manage the crowd, to predict the crowd. And apart from this, there should have been some more ambulances parked there, because they are predicting more crowd. This is not the first time Vijay is going for campaign. He's almost third time he is going for the weekend campaign. So they should predict it. They know Karur, they know the geography and they know the social setup in Karur. Why didn't they do that? So it is the highly irresponsible answer from the comment from the DMK.
All right.
Highly irresponsible.